Today's episode of Voiced is from r/Am I the Asshole and is about 3 intriguing situations involving family drama, unexpected confrontations, and financial truths. What happens when boundaries are crossed and humor takes a sharp turn? Subscribe if you enjoy. I, 27 male, have a condition which causes me to overproduce earwax. I don't tell people about it because I was bullied for it growing up. Only my wife and parents know. Every other day, I have to put medication in each ear, let it sit, then flush it out with a rubber-tipped syringe. This prevents ear infections, vertigo, permanent hearing loss, and worsening of my tinnitus. I have dealt with all of these things to some extent, so I stay on top of my eardrop regimen. If my alarm goes off when I'm with others, I go to the bathroom for 20 minutes and complete it. If I don't follow my schedule, I forget, so I can't put it off. 2 weeks ago, my mom hosted family dinner. My cousin Kara, 37 years old female, saw me waltz off to the bathroom to do my thing, syringe in hand, and asked what I was doing. I said just a minor medical thing. She kept pushing, but I didn't want to say anything because she gossips. I told her it's personal and scooted past. When I left, she was standing in the hallway. She asked what took so long and why the toilet didn't flush. I said none of her business. She said she didn't mean to offend. Last weekend, my friend called me to invite me out to lunch with some buddies. He said to meet up at his house so we wouldn't have to drive separately. I arrived at his house to find Kara and my friends sitting solemnly on the couch. Kara said they were here to talk about my problem and that they just wanted to help. I said there is no problem. Suddenly, it clicked in my head what this was about. I couldn't help but laugh a little bit out of shock. She asked what was so funny, and I said, first of all, why didn't you talk to my wife or my parents? She said she didn't want to involve my enablers, which just made me laugh harder. She looked annoyed and said she was done trying to help. I said that's all right by me. She stormed out. I explained to my friends. They knew I have a condition, but never pressed me on it. I guess when Kara approached them, they thought I was lying. Obviously, I'd rather they know than worry about me being an addict when I'm not. I thanked them for their support anyway. Kara had apparently reached all of my friends through my social media. We all got a good hearty laugh out of it, which Kara must have heard because she was, of course, eavesdropping. She burst back in and told me to tell them the truth, to which I said I did. My friend kicked her out. We went for lunch, and I thought that was that. My mom called me yesterday and told me she had talked to Kara about the whole thing and explained. She said Kara was very upset with me and essentially called me a jerk for not explaining and laughing in her face and embarrassing her. I said I was embarrassed and that Kara had no right to my information. I think she shouldn't go around snooping and making assumptions. My mom still thinks I should apologize. Wow, what an unexpected twist with a cousin's misguided concern. It's wild how assumptions can spiral, and that moment of laughter must have been so cathartic amidst the chaos. Speaking of surprising encounters, let's transition from family misunderstandings to a lively dance floor where things take a different turn. In a setting filled with music and rhythm, relationships can get tested, and sometimes it takes a dance to set things right. Let's find out how one dancer handled a not-so-nice comment aimed at her boyfriend.
My boyfriend and I were at a German folk fest, and there was one formal dance we had to participate in. I danced for a few years when I was a teen, while my boyfriend barely has any dancing experience. There was this one guy who was apparently dancing competitively, and after that formal dance, he made a rude remark about how my boyfriend maybe should have practiced some steps beforehand. He did, and he didn't do a bad job at all. Naturally, I asked him if he minded to have a dance with me. He complied, saying he would be delighted, and that he also always wanted to have at least one dance with someone who actually knew what they were doing. Next up was a Tango Argentino, which was lucky for me because you get really close and can talk the majority of the time if you want, and I really wanted. Here were the pieces of dialogue that I remember. Me: so for how long have you been dancing? 4 years now. Really? Oh, okay, but probably not very regularly. What, why? No, I go at least once a week. I just thought people sometimes get busy, with jobs and life. But yeah, I guess you never know. And what's your favorite dance? Tango Argentino is nice, but I think my favorite is... No, of course it's obvious this isn't it. No worries. You don't have a steady dancing partner, do you? No. Why? Just the way you dance. Have you thought about trying other sports? No, I really like dancing. Why would I? Me, just asking. I love lifting, for example, and a friend of mine from dancing swears by yoga as cross-training. Oh yeah, that actually sounds cool. Maybe I will think about it, thanks. Me, no problem. Maybe there's even some sport where you have natural talent. The whole dance went like this. When it was over, I thanked him for the dance, He sourly thanked me back, and I patted his hand with a reassuring, "You're welcome. And don't fret it, everyone learns at their own pace." I also love how people are absolutely divided between those who understand the culture around dancing and those who think social dancing is basically inappropriate. I wonder how the latter will react when they hear about arm wrestling, where you literally go with the sole intention to hold hands. To address the most common question, no, tango, Argentino, or ballroom at a random folk fest does not look like an international dance competition, neither as skillful nor as flashy or intimate. Here's an impression of how it looks when 50 German strangers go do it on a dance floor. If you think that's sexy, good for you. Come visit German folk fests. You will love it.
Wow, what a dramatic twist in that dance scenario. It's fascinating how the dynamics of a little tango can quickly spiral into discussions about expectations and self-worth. Speaking of expectations, let's shift gears and dive into another interpersonal conflict, this time in the heart of a family setting. The balance between tradition and modernity can lead to some heated exchanges, especially when it comes to values ingrained from childhood. Let's see how one woman navigates the challenges of a traditional mindset in her relationship while standing firm on her beliefs.
So my husband comes from a traditional family. Mom's a stay-at-home mom. Father was sole provider. I come from the opposite. My mother pretty much forbade me from ever being financially dependent on a man and drilled that into me early on. My husband worked hard to unlearn the values he saw replicated at home. He often pulled his weight at home, was an engaged and present father, and a genuine partner. The one thing that grinds my gears is how much weight he puts on the opinions of his family. I get that we all want our parents to be proud of us, but this is too much. My in-laws are staying with us for 2 weeks. Our usual method of operation is I prepare breakfast, we all eat lunch at work or school, and my husband makes dinner. We have a cleaner, but she is on holiday, so in the meantime, we are doing the cleaning ourselves, where it is down to everyone to keep their space clean and the common spaces clean as well. This is how we have always done it, and it works. My in-laws hate that I'm one of those modern women. They hate that I work. They hate that I don't find my purpose in being a wife and mother, and they hate that my husband pulls his weight at home. We spoke pretty frankly early on, where I established my boundaries and told them I won't be chastised about how I live my life in my home. When I am a guest in their home, I accommodate their ways and play the daughter-in-law they wish I was. They have, for the most part, respected this. I got home yesterday after work, tired and starving. I typically get home at 6:15 or 6:30, and we eat at 7. I said quick hellos and ran up for a pre-dinner shower. When I came down, I went to the kitchen to help set up for dinner and found nothing ready. I asked my husband about it, but he wouldn't look at me, and his mother answered that he hadn't cooked anything. She told me I needed to do my duty as a wife and cook for my family. My timid husband still wasn't looking at me. I just walked away and ordered takeaway. I dished up for me and my kids, and we sat at the table to eat. My husband and his parents served themselves and joined us. My mother-in-law was still going on about what was wrong with me and why I was a failure. I asked my husband if he had anything to say. He said his mother had a point, and it wouldn't hurt if I acted more like a proper woman and took better care of my home and children. He said tradition was tradition for a reason, and it was kind of insulting that I thought I was too good for how he was raised. This is where I might be the antagonist. I told him tradition won't allow a man on $35,000 to support a family of 5, and he was too broke to be so sexist. He looked hurt, and I saw tears welling in his eyes. He excused himself from the table. I regret saying this in front of our children, but him saying that to me after I'm busting my rear end to clean up his mess on top of having to deal with his parents was too much for me. Am I the antagonist?
Before I dive into today's posts, please consider subscribing for more intriguing stories. Wow, the drama in these Reddit posts was absolutely wild. The first one about the cousin's misguided intervention was a roller coaster. I mean, who needs gossip when you can handle medical stuff like a champ? And can we talk about the bold dance move in the second post? Nothing like showing a rude dude who's boss with some killer tango. Lastly, that husband-wife dynamic really struck a chord. It's sad to see traditional values clash with modern ideals, especially when it involves family pressures. Let me know what you think in the comments below and share your thoughts on these situations. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily, high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.